Russia claims victory over Luhansk region. Now, Luhansk is one of the two parts of the Donbas region in eastern Ukraine, which has been under Putin's radar since the invasion. Luhansk is a very important part of eastern Ukraine and has been in the conflict zone for a while. While Russia claims victory over the territory, Ukraine calls it tactical retreat. But what is it that makes Luhansk so significant in this battle? Luhansk lies in the Donbas region in eastern Ukraine, one of the two areas. Luhansk and Donetsk together form the Donbas region. Now, they are very important because this is not the beginning of the conflict in Donbas, that is since the invasion. The conflict in the Donbas region started way before the war started. It was in 2014 during the Euromaidan protests that this region broke away from Ukraine, and what we see now is an independent, self-proclaimed independent areas of Donetsk People's Republic and Luhansk People's Republic, which were later recognized as republics by only one country, and that is Russia, just ahead of the so-called special military operation or the invasion in February of 2022. It is also significant because the conflict began long before, and it seems like in this region the conflict will continue since there is a growing call within these regions for separate statehood. Now, over the years, Russia has backed and supported the Donbas region and the leadership of Donetsk and Luhansk. They have supported them with material, with weapons, with all kinds of supplies, because since they broke away from Ukraine, all supplies from Ukraine stopped into this region. But this region has not suffered drastically because of the help and support of Russia. Also to note over here is the fact that 40% of the people in Donbas region are of Russian descent. Most speak Russian. Russian is a very important language, not just in the Donbas region that we're talking about, but the whole of eastern Ukraine. Most of them are of Russian descent, Russian origin, Russian speaking, and therefore there is more affinity towards Moscow, and that certainly helps Russia and certainly does not help Ukraine, because Ukraine not so long ago under Zelensky administration came up with a regulation, with a law banning Russian as an official language. That certainly rattled the people of Donetsk and Luhansk, and is the reason why the growing call to have a separate state in the entire Donbas region. So a very important aspect over there. Although Russia comes with a lot of support, that is not just the reason why Russia is looking at Donbas region. It is strategically a very critical area for Russia. If Donbas is declared independent, and if Ukraine recognizes that, it will pave the way for Russia. Even if Ukraine does not, it still paves the way for Russia to have a land bridge between Russia and Crimea that was annexed by Russia in 2014 when Donbas declared itself independent or separate from Ukraine. The same year, we saw Donbas and Crimea go their separate ways from Ukraine. Crimea, in fact, was annexed by Russia in 2014. So a strategic space creating land bridge between Russia and Crimea. A lot of the regions in the eastern parts of Ukraine provided electricity, water to Crimea that was blocked because Ukraine did not allow water and electricity to flow into Crimea after the annexation. Now, with the capturing of these territories and with Donbas trying to go its separate way and now being recognized by Russia, the smooth flow of electricity and water can take place for Crimea. Another important aspect is the access to warm seaports. Now, for Russia, Crimea was a critical infrastructure, given that that's the only warm seaport that Russia has. That's the Sevastopol seaport, and is the reason why Russia did not want to give up on this critical infrastructure that lay within the land of Ukraine, and therefore the annexation of 2014. And now, with the entire eastern part, the Sea of Azov, Black Sea, and having access to all these areas with the capture of the eastern parts, particularly the Donbas region, it seems like Russia is determined to have access to the warm waters and warm seaports. Now, with Luhansk completely under the control of Russia, Donetsk could also follow. Donetsk is also a very important part of the Donbas region, with only a few cities left and Ukraine giving Russia a very tough fight. It seems like a win for Russia is closer. Now, the Donbas region is also very important when it comes to not just the strategic positioning and being a buffer between Ukraine and Russia. So in case Ukraine goes and joins hands with NATO, they have an entire landmass which stands between Russia and Ukraine, and is the reason why this entire eastern part beyond Donbas has also become very important for Russia to be under their control. Having said that, Donbas region in itself is not just strategically important, it is also a very important economic hub. At one point in time, coal steel production in Donbas region was concentrated to the extent that it allowed a lot of revenue and income to Ukraine. Now, the steel production and coal production, because of all the sanctions, had stopped, but Russia was primarily a buyer of all the coal and steel from here. But it's not just coal and steel, pharmaceutical, chemicals, fertilizers. Donbas region is rich and has all those factories and industries. It was and is an industrial hub that Russia would certainly want to exploit, to optimally utilize. And if Donetsk and Luhansk completely fall, then it will cement Russia's victory, a strategic win for Russia when it comes to having not just engagement with the people of Donbas region, but also the leadership being very close to Moscow. This is certainly going to be a very big, major strategic win for Russia, economically and strategically. Now, Russia has intensified its military action in the entire eastern part of Ukraine and Donbas region in particular. While Ukraine has lost a lot of cities in eastern parts, they are not giving up. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has said that not only are they going to try to reclaim the captured territories in eastern Ukraine, they are also looking at reclaiming Donbas and Crimea. Now, if this is the statement, the negotiations are going to be a tough ask, because Russia is determined that Donbas, that is Donetsk and Luhansk, be declared independent republics and Crimea a part of Russia. If these two conditions are not met, it doesn't seem like the war is going to end anytime soon. This is going to be a long conflict, a long drawn war between Russia and Ukraine, and it is the eastern parts of Ukraine where people are going to suffer the brunt of the war the most. So the people of Donetsk and Luhansk will have to brace themselves.
More informative videos like this, keep watching India Today News Mo.